and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of the things that I wish I knew before I started therapy. Make sure you like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and also make sure you share this video with anybody who might find this useful. In 2021, we are normalizing therapy. Therapy is one of the things that really helps and benefits your mental health. In particular, in this current climate that we're in, the last 18 to 20 months have been very difficult. And therapy is one of the ways that you're making sure that you are caring for your mental health as well as your overall health and well-being. I personally started therapy in June 2020, and for those who may not know the process, we have a highlight on our page, and in essence I went on to baatn.co.uk. I'll leave the link down below, and that was basically how I found my therapist. So if you're not following us on Instagram at theultimateguidegroup, we publish 2 reels of the 10 things that I wish I had known before I started therapy. So I'm going to run you through those different things today. So number 1, be open and honest. One of the things that I realized when I started therapy is that I needed to be open and honest. I couldn't have a curated view of what I thought the therapist wanted to hear. She needed to actually understand how I was feeling and what I was thinking to be able to properly advise me as a professional. When I first started therapy, I would create this curated view of myself, of what I thought the therapist wanted to hear. Of somebody very similar to an Instagram feed, I was creating what I wanted her to perceive me as. And actually, when I became more open, more honest, I actually realized that I got the best from the therapy sessions. Number 2, it may be awkward. The first few sessions were incredibly awkward, as I don't really know what to say, I don't really know how to lead this conversation, but your therapist should be able to walk you through that. I actually had 3 different therapists. One didn't really work for me, one was fine but didn't really work within the circumstances at the time, and the third one really guided me through the awkwardness. So if there were times where I needed to sit within my feelings, sit with my thoughts, she allowed me space to be able to do so. But more importantly, she allowed me to have that space, but also she coached me into being able to deal with my emotions and feelings. Number 3, it could get incredibly emotional. I cried a lot during my therapy sessions. A lot of the times there are things that you do to be able to just move and interact and just go about your daily life. And so as a result, there are emotions that may get pushed down and you just haven't dealt with in a number of different years. We were uncovering a lot of stuff during my childhood, and as a result, there were feelings and emotions that I hadn't really dealt with in the last 10 years or the last 15 years that I actually had to deal with or ended up dealing with during my therapy sessions. They were great in making sure that I had peace with myself and peace with my younger self, but it was surprising how much I cried and how emotional those sessions were. And so just as an FYI, it could get emotional and you may cry a lot. Number 4, your thoughts may be completely all over the place. You are an individual that has had various experiences happen to you and that you've actually experienced. And so as a result, you may be piecing together memories, thoughts, feelings, and they may not be coherent, they may not be clear. And it's the job of the therapist and yourself to work together to be able to piece together how you're feeling. I found it incredibly helpful to be able to just to speak and be able to interact with those feelings without feeling that I needed to have a curated or very clear chronology for the experiences and the feelings that I was feeling. Number 5, it takes time. It's not a quick fix. I started therapy in June of 2020 and I slowed down my therapy sessions. As I said, I had 3 different therapists, and so in that time I changed various different therapists. When I ended up with my last therapist, I was with her for about 10 months, and that helped a lot for me to be able to have kind of a set course of time to be able to go through my feelings, to discuss how I wanted to be and what I was doing, and to work through various different seasons in my life as well. It's not a quick fix, but the first step is vital and crucial. Number 6, you can correct your therapist if you need to. The very first therapist that I had sometimes would focus on issues and points that weren't really relevant to how I was at 28 when I started. If your therapist is taking you down a different road that is kind of different to what you actually feel or isn't really interpreting the instance or the experience correctly, you can steer them back and allow for them to actually provide you advice and professional help based on how it is you're feeling and correct interpretation. That was something that I felt incredibly awkward doing to start off with because I'm a massive people pleaser. But in essence, it helped loads as I was able to direct my therapist away from things that probably were interesting and useful, but weren't really what I needed for that particular time. Yeah. Number 7, you can take a break and come back to therapy. So, like I said, I had my previous therapist for 10 months. I started that therapy in July of 2021. One, because I was becoming a bit overwhelmed with work, which is not a 9-to-5 job. I'm also renovating a house, and that was becoming incredibly overwhelming for me to be able to do both at the same time. I will go back to that therapy so I can have a consistent touch point with that therapist. So what I said to myself is I was going to take a break from August through till January, when it is that my house is probably going to be done, and that is fine. So it's my therapist about it, she's also fine with it, and it was helpful for me to have that confirmation that I could go have a break from therapy and also come back. Number 8, sometimes the therapy or therapist that you engage may not be what you need. So like I said, my first therapy session or my first therapist used counseling. What I needed, now that I know what I need, is CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, which then meant that I would go to sessions, and unless I was providing topics or asking questions or just speaking, there wouldn't be that much direction or structure to the session. It would just be for me to kind of lead the session and for her to provide prompts for me to think about and discuss the various different things that I was feeling or the experiences that I was going through. I kind of wanted to go to my therapy sessions, there to be a structure, but for me not to have to lead the session. So just be aware of the fact that just because you've engaged one therapist or one therapy methodology doesn't mean that you have to stick with it throughout the whole time that you're in therapy. Number 9, as a result of therapy, as a result of going through the sessions that you are going through, you may have to establish boundaries with family members, with friends, with significant others, etc., which then may mean that those individuals who had previously taken advantage of your flexibility or your lack of boundaries may feel that they are being slighted because they're not able to utilize the lack of boundaries that you previously had. That's fine, that's on them. You have to make sure that you're happy with the person that you're becoming and establishing boundaries that actually work for you. It may be difficult to have those conversations with your family members, with your significant other, but it's a conversation that you need to have. And number 10, taking the first step to therapy is a win. The fact that you've logged onto this conversation, the fact that you're thinking about taking a step to get therapy, the fact that you're engaging in these kind of conversations is a win, and it's something that you should be happy about no matter. So congrats. And that's it. Those are the 10 things that I wish I'd known before I started therapy. As I said before, comment down below if you've started therapy. What are some of the things that you wish that you would have known before you started therapy? And let's create a community down below for everybody who's watching this video to work out what things they should expect when they start therapy. So definitely go and check out the Ultimate Guide group and our different posts on therapy and the various different resources that you can engage in to be able to get therapy. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.